Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching
Fanboy.
Fanboy,
fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
Board. We're going to do a countdown from 3, 2, 1 and go from there. 3, 2, 1. Today, I have the great pleasure in speaking with one of Disney Plus's co-stars in the new Marvel series, Miss Marvel. She plays Aisha. Mehwish Hayat, how are you today?
I am good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I get to chat with you. We get to talk comic book series, a fun family series featuring Pakistani and Muslim characters, which is kind of becoming in vogue at this point. A lot of people are focusing on South Asia when it comes to character development.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that Marvel has actually been the first one to give us the kind of representation that was needed, because for the longest time, and it used to really frustrate me with the way Muslims and Pakistanis have always been misrepresented in the West and in Bollywood. So, you know, I spoke about this on many platforms, that, you know, if not a fair portrayal, at least a balanced portrayal was needed. And I think this series was actually an answer to my prayers, because it was everything that I always hoped for and wanted. And, you know, it happened so at the right time, I guess.
You know, early on in the series, it was a slow burn, because the first couple of episodes, you know, they always have to establish everything. And at first I said, okay, I already lived this, being the first generation American. I understand the idea of wanting to be more Americanized than, in my case, Middle Eastern instead of South Asian. And that there was one word that she used, I think it was in the second episode, where she said, I want to be normal, that kind of bothered me. But, you know, I like the development of the character and finally accepting her identity, that she can be Pakistani and that she can be American. She can actually be both, which I think a lot of people forget.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, brown girls from Jersey City can actually save the world.
Yeah, especially with a loving father.
Especially?
With a loving father.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, the dynamic of the family, the relationships, and how it's actually a typical Pakistani family. And we're all very close. We're all very, you know, always, that's our generally usual household, the way I grew up and the way most of the Pakistani families are. And I think they got the details and those nuances so right. Even the scene where he dresses up with the costume and he wants to go because the mother wants her to not go alone. I mean, it's so funny, but at the same time, it's so real, you know.
Yeah.
It's so relatable.
And that was endearing of the family to do that for her. Okay, you want to go, your father is going with you.
Yeah. You can go, yeah, but with your brother or with your father.
Well, besides the show, your life isn't very typical Asian at all, because, you know, from Turkey to Indonesia, we typically have 5 degrees that we go into: some sort of science, some sort of engineering, some sort of law, or some sort of business. And then they kind of look at the rest that went into the arts as like they're the last resort. But you come from a family of artists. You have 2 brothers that are actors. You have a sister, I believe, or one brother is a musician.
Yes, yes.
Your mother was an actress as well. So you come from a family of artists.
Yeah, I think that really helped me in my career, because I grew up watching my mom act and always looked up to her for inspiration. And she actually did it more like a, you know, as a hobby. I took it way too seriously, like my rest of the siblings. And, you know, art has always been a very integral part of me and my family. I mean, if it was music, if it was art, it was dance and all forms of arts. And I think it was always within me, But I'm so glad that I was able to realize that and actually get into the profession early on. And here we are. I mean, never had I ever imagined a Karachi girl to be working, for the biggest franchise in Hollywood and be able to be part of the MCU.
Before we continue with the MCU, you mentioned Karachi, and I know there was a flood there recently. Is everything okay?
Thank God, it's better now. But it was around Eid, and we actually ran out of power, and it was pretty bad actually. I'm right now in Houston. I had to travel for the promotion of my film, Pakistani film, that has just recently come out. But it was terrible actually. It was very bad.
But family's okay and things are settling down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the important thing, because we want people to be safe. I mean, these tragedies happen worldwide constantly, and sometimes we forget about natural disasters in what they do to people around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Growing up in Pakistan and now working in America as an actress, it's not the same culture, it's not the same family values, it's not even the same ideals. What is it like acting in Pakistan, where you're so deeply rooted in the culture that you grew up in, and now coming to America and performing for an American audience?
It's no different, to be honest, because no matter what the medium is or wherever I am as an artist, I think it's about my relationship with the camera. And once that red light turns on, that's it. I forget about everything. And I live in that moment, being that character. The difference would be, of course, the budgets and the production is huge. And there are so many people, so many departments. Whereas in Pakistan, it's a small industry. It's still in its infancy. And with very little resources, we try to make the best out of it and try to make quality content. I mean, our TV shows are world famous, and they've always been for years translated into different languages, and people around the world love watching them. And for our movies as well now, I mean, my recent Pakistani movie actually has been the biggest opening in Pakistan, as well as in the UK, in the US, and Middle East. So, I mean, the difference would be the budgets and the production, I would say. But the rest is almost the same.
And please remind us of the name of the latest film as well.
London Nahi Jaunga, which means I won't go to London.
Don't worry, I don't want to go to London either.
I play a girl from London, but the guy, the main lead with me, is actually from Punjab, and he says that I won't, but he actually goes to London.
Well, he's chasing after you. Do you blame him?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I don't blame him.
Yeah, on top of being, making Pakistani films, American television, superhero television, you're also a gamer, I hear.
Yep.
What is the current gaming obsession?
Lately, I haven't been able to. The last one I played was Uncharted 4, and I posted it on my stories, and everyone was like, "Wow, you finished the game? Wow, you're really good." I was like, "Okay, that was a piece of cake." But I don't usually get much time because I'm always on the go, traveling, and I'm hardly at home. But yeah, otherwise, I love playing fighting games like Mortal Kombat. I grew up playing PlayStation, Street Fighter, Need for Speed, and all of these competition games that have actually a lot of, that challenges me and kick some ass.
Well, that's what happens when you have 4 siblings.
Yes. Oh, me and my brother, he used to really struggle, because when we would come back from school, the idea was that whoever gets to the controller first gets to play first. And we would literally get off the car and run. So yeah, it used to be a lot of fun.
Well, since you finished Uncharted 4 and there might be an Uncharted sequel, let's put that out there that you end up in the sequel.
Oh my God, I hope so. I would love to.
Well, we're looking forward to you to having more success.
Am I looking forward to?
No, we are for you.
Oh, thank you.
We know you want the success. We want it for you too.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope to, because I'm spoiled after this project. I am now part of this, big franchise, and I'm spoiled. And I keep telling people in Pakistan and the production house in Pakistan that, you know what, I'm gone. Bye. They're like, oh my God, this girl is now, we can't reach. But that's just, fun and games. I would always work for my Pakistani industry. But it's good to be able to spread my wings, to expand and to learn new things and to be part of, a global platform. I mean, why not?
Well, you mentioned that Pakistan is still in its infancy in the film industry. Would you like to take what you've learned filming in Britain and then in the United States and then bring it home to Pakistan and help develop the industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. So much that can be implemented in Pakistan. So much that can be done, and it'll only help, the industry grow. And little things, simple things, like at times one person would be handling 2 departments or 3 departments, whereas as compared to in Hollywood, there would be, people that would only be designated for that particular job. And I think that really helps divide, the load, and also for everyone to give their best in their own department. I think that's very important. And also the budgets. I mean, that these are the biggest budgeted films and shows. And with us, it's always very little resources, but it's getting better. We're on the right track.
Mehwish, you said that your father's name was Muhammad in our pre-interview, and you get to play Aisha, and Aisha is a very important person in Islam as well. When you tell your father and you tell your mother, not only is my father named Muhammad, but now I get to play Aisha, how significant is that name alone for you in this character?
It's actually one of my favorite names. And it's such a beautiful name, and the significance that it has. And it was honestly playing Aisha, and the way everyone has accepted her, embraced her, and the way people showed love towards Aisha. I mean, my family is so proud of me, but not just my family, the whole country is so proud of me. And they're so happy that I was able to represent and play a Pakistani role in Hollywood. I mean, talk about representation, and it couldn't have been any better than this.
South Asians, like you said, have often been misrepresented in certain instances. The one thing I was always intrigued by is that, the stereotype of the convenience store owner here in the United States. But people also forget that these were the people that were immigrants that bought the convenience store. So these were self-made business people that didn't get the credit that they deserved, when they were portrayed in certain shows or films. How significant is the evolution of that? Because the next generation, of coming up, their children are all the engineers and the doctors and in the STEM industry. Like my family are all engineers. I know people from the Middle East are all engineers. Who would have guessed? But all go into the STEM fields. And if the first generation is the immigrant that breaks their back, at least our second generation or our first generation born here are the ones that advance the family.
Absolutely. I mean, it's also about awareness. I mean, people are more aware of their surroundings, about the world, about the global climate. And I mean, it's only getting better for not just us, Pakistanis or Muslims, I think everywhere. I mean, it's just being more aware, I would say, and knowing the kind of responsibility that all of us have. and being able to grow, be able to represent, be able to make your family proud, to be able to do things that, I mean, so many people from, like, so many Pakistani actors were there in this show, and they were given a global platform. Imagine the people back home that actually look up to us. They know that they can also do it, right? So for anybody who wants to achieve something, as long as you're determined, as long as you're progressive, no matter where you begin, I think you'll end up being at the right place, I would say.
But so Aisha is an important character for you in the series. Your parents are very proud of you that you're able to expand, career-wise internationally. What does that mean for you as a performer from South Asia to perform on now a global scale and not just something that would be localized to the country?
I mean, for any artist to be able to expand, to be able to be on a global platform in any capacity, it is a dream come true. And for me to have been able to make a name for myself back home in 2019, I was actually awarded with the 4th highest civilian honor for my contribution to art and cinema. After that, I felt like, okay, I have been working for 10 years, and what is next? I didn't know that this project will come across. And when it did, not just me, but so many other Pakistani artists are featured in it. And we were given a global platform. And imagine what it means for all the Pakistanis out there who look at me for inspiration, and girls who look up to me. It only means that dreams do come true. And if you work hard enough and believe in yourself enough, anything is possible. I mean, with us 4 being there, we are going to be opening up doors for so many other artists and talent back home. I think it's just a time where we should be celebrating, and the world is my oyster, I would say. I think I just have to, now that I have a bigger fan base, I cannot let them down, and it adds more responsibility on my shoulder to come up to their expectations and do better and better with each project.
I like that. What do you tell to the artists then? Because there's 2 types of artists: the ones that create and put out into the world and just let it exist for the world to either critique or accept, and then the artist that is too scared to share their work with the world and internalize everything and just hoard it for themselves because they're scared of that criticism. What would you tell the ones that are fearful of the criticism or even expressing themselves to the world?
I think you should always be yourself, and the world will adjust, because you can be the best, the juiciest peach out there, and there would still be somebody who hates peaches. So it should not be about pleasing people or thinking what criticism you might attract or what is going to be the consequence or the result. I mean, it's always about the journey, not the destination. And I think if you're scared of what people think, then that is only going to hinder your growth. I mean, one should know what they want and go for it. The world will adjust for sure.
I like that. And your brother, who used to race home to try to get to the controller first, what's his reaction now that you're a character in a Marvel series?
Oh, he's so proud. He's so happy. And we were all in tears when we watched it, when we watched the show. And I mean, it was a moment when all of us were like, seeing my family proud of me is the biggest award that I can get. And it's just so overwhelming and heartwarming.
Now, as a creator yourself and everything that you've learned in the industry, and if you want, let's say you have the perfect project, you're executive producer, you've come up with the perfect project. Would you like to include all your family in, your brother to compose the music since he's a composer, your other brother and sister who are actresses? bring your mom back in front of the camera? Would you like to do something for that as well?
Why not? It'll be Hayat production, home production. I mean, I think it's all about the talent, and because they are talented, not because they're my family members. I would want to utilize their, talent and their services. Why not?
And what would your dream project be? One that you have full creative control over.
Okay, I am actually working on something for the last 4 years, and that was actually going to be my first Hollywood project, but this one ended up being my first one. But because of NDAs, I can't share much, but soon, inshallah, something exciting is coming up.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what it is.
Thank you.
As your career grows and your name is growing here in the West, what does that do not only for the community that you're inspiring, but for you as a creator? Does that infringe too much on your personal life? Because some people like to have, certain things remain private. You are a public figure, but there's certain aspects of life that you want to keep to yourself. Does that line get blurred at this point?
No, because I'm a very private person in my personal life. I hope that you're not having issues with the audio. Just one second.
It's okay. We get the sirens here too.
Yeah, okay. You can hear the sirens. So, to be honest, I keep my private life very private, and have been able to maintain that kind of separation with my work and my family at home. Apart from that, I mean, I worked so hard to be famous, to be known, to be able to inspire people, to be able to change lives for the better. And all that I've done has brought me here, right? So all the love that I receive, all the kind of attention that I get, it's a blessing, I would say. And apart from that, I am able to keep my private life very private, because if I'm not working, then you wouldn't know what I'm up to.
You found the balance between work and privacy.
Yeah, I have.
Mehwish, before I let you go, it's been a great pleasure chatting with you today, and congratulations on all your success and all the future success that's coming your way. Where can we find you on social media if we would like to connect with you?
Okay, so my Twitter handle is Mehwish Hayat, and my Instagram is Mehwish Hayat Official. And these are verified accounts, so you can easily distinguish between the fan pages and the real one. And I'm not on Facebook.
That's smart, actually. So, yeah. With everything that's going on, congratulations. Remind us where we could see the movie, as we already know that Miss Marvel is streaming on Disney+.
The movie, the Pakistani movie, yes. I mean, it's released globally. It's available in cinemas in Middle East, in the UK, in the US, in Canada, in Australia, in Europe as well. Yeah, I mean, just check out the nearest cinema and see if London Ejam is playing, and do watch it.
Mehwish Hayat, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on everything. I look forward to seeing the next project as well.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.